Hi everybody and welcome to Broadcast 11. Sorry about the hold up and thanks very much for bearing with us. So today, following my news and news from the localities, we're going to feature Betty and Amelia's friendship, and then we'll see the photos from our regular events of last week whilst giving you the opportunity to message me. And then following this, we'll have Paul Cohen's journey, finishing with my responses to your messages. So enjoy. So I had a quiet weekend as usual, quite relaxing. I watched 2 Agatha Christie films and Billy Elliot, which absolutely loved, whilst I was knitting. I started a jigsaw on Sunday and then I went for a walk with Jed. Oh, and I did make another cake, a lemon cake this week. As far as our COVID stats go, we've still got nobody with the virus and we've got no assistance off at the moment relating to the virus. We do have 7 staff off with other illnesses. I've got a message this week to read out from Lauren, our national leader, as usual. Next Monday, on the 8th of June, the reading in the day's service of most Christian churches is the Beatitudes. These readings have the potential to appeal to people of all faiths or none and outlooks. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the peacemakers. L'Arche is founded on the Beatitudes. The first Federation Charter started by quoting this passage. In a rapidly evolving world, we now have a chance to contribute to the new Charter, and that will help remind us of all that we held precious from the past while uniting us in common vision for the future. I am particularly struck by the Beatitudes' call for social justice. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. This is particularly pertinent today as we see the COVID virus disproportionately affecting the elderly, those with underlying health conditions, and those living in economic deprivation and the BAME communities. And global injustice is being brought to the forefront as we hear the cry across the world of "I can't breathe." We stand in solidarity with the family of George Floyd, the activists of Black Lives Matter, and all who hunger for justice in our world and a more human society, where all are welcome and have access to equal opportunities. As L'Arche, we have an important part to play in being a sign for social justice and celebrating diversity. So thank you once again, Lauren, for this inclusive and thought-provoking message. And I'm sure you've all been shocked by the murder of George Floyd. It'd be nice to keep him in and his family in our thoughts and prayers. I had a Zoom committee meeting on Monday evening with our local committee, and the chair, John, sent a message to the community on behalf of the committee. The committee send their thanks to everyone for the tremendous effort you are making to keep in touch with the community, and we commend you for all of your hard work. You are clearly picking up new skills along the way and becoming very creative. Keep up the good work, look after yourselves, and be kind to yourself. Thank you. So that was nice of John and the committee, and they are really pleased with the stuff that we're doing with the Zooms and the YouTube. And now for news around the localities. In St Sebastian's, Ant went for a drive in his car, which he loves. Carlene helped Nicola cook dinner for everybody. Looks like a big pan of chilli there. And Anne and Ursula won the bingo. And Hannah was doing her word search in the hallway. Who knows why, but that's Hannah for you. The best news from St Sebastian's this week is from Les. After nearly 2 years of treatment, his legs have completely healed and he wanted everybody to see how well he's done. This is a testament to Les and his team who've been fastidious in following the treatment under the guidance of the district nurse. And the nurse didn't think that they would ever fully heal. So well done, Les. And I hope you're well and we're looking forward to seeing you when this is all over. So you take care. In Fountain Court, Max is concentrating on keeping healthy whilst in lockdown by beating everybody at swing ball, getting her groove on each week at the Glee Club, and shaking those muscles along to Dance Fit on the TV with Julie. And San is concentrating on staying ladylike with her nails being pampered. And Lynn is concentrating on staying safe. She started a new trend of PPE. And in the harbour, they've started their own bingo too. And Roz and Sue won. So please keep sending photos of activities and events that you've been involved in, because it's always lovely for others in the community to see what's been going on. And I think it's great anyway for you to see yourselves on the YouTube. So it's now time to focus on Betty and Amelia's friendship. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hi everyone, I'm Amelia. I work in Silk in Lush. I joined in 2015, so 5 years ago. What did I do before that? Well, I never thought I'm gonna have this kind of job, and it just it's something unexpected in my life that I enjoy so much. Before that, I'm Polish. I have never thought of leaving my country. I have never thought of living in UK. But this is what happened. Life takes you places. I guess I'm very proud of where I'm from, because this is what I bring in as well into this place. Let me start from when I came here and who I was then, because I was really quiet, I was really kind of timid, didn't know. Yeah, I take time to get to know people, and I guess I'll expect kind of the same from everybody else. So I knew it's gonna take me a while, but I have made best friends in this place, and one of them is Elizabeth MacDonald. Everyone knows you, Betty, as Betty, right? Because that's what you like to call yourself when I started here. But getting to know you better with time, getting to know your family, and you know, you and me, we've got that little tease relationship. Yeah, me and you, we tease each other all the time. And I've realized that you like to be called Elizabeth, so it's Elizabeth for us anyway. I think from the very start, we had that relationship that Betty likes to joke around, and I always like that as well. And from the very start, I think we had kind of clicked on to these bases that we like to joke around. Elizabeth, you remember our trip to Edinburgh a few years back? Remember that? After that trip, I said never again. Holidays, never again. Remember when you used to say no to everything? Remember that? Remember Edinburgh? And you were like, no, I don't want to go there. No, I don't want this. And remember last year holidays in Jersey? Remember when you were going to the first night when there was a band on? And there was 3 guys, and you were trying to get through me to them when they finished playing music. Remember that? That was one of the best holidays ever. So, yeah, and again, our friendship grew over that trip last year. Yeah. Remember the man who was playing? No, you don't remember. Well, I remember, because you were trying to get through me to get to him. Yeah. The holidays last year, it was amazing, Betty. Just one of the best holidays that I have been with one of my friends. It was so much fun. Remember when we went to the beach last year? And you were like, no. But I said, come on, we're at the beach, we're on holidays, at the beach, and we're not going to even touch the sand. I'm very lucky to be where I am, to work with you, Elizabeth, because I did not ever expect to have a friend out of this. Right? Yeah, things so. Life brings you unexpected things, and you are you listening? Are you listening to me now? Yeah, so as I said, the real personality comes through at some point, because there is no other way in this place to go through the day. And I just feel lucky that I have what I have here, one of my best friends, because friendship is about what we like, right? And I want to make you happy, and I think that's how I gained a friend, because I want to give you always whatever I can, right? Right, Betty's got great moves and great beat. She likes the beat and the music, and I do as well, so how can we not get on, Betty, right? So journey with Lars have changed me, and as I said, my personality had to come out at the end. There's no hiding about anything, and that kind of helped me with my journey in my life outside work, outside Lars, right, Betty? But you are definitely my everyday life as a friend, because that's what you need. You need your friends every day, right? So I do appreciate the journey I've been through with Lars, with my friend Betty. I don't think I would be the same person, because where I come from, it's nobody talks about their feelings. Nobody talks about. I felt like my family was never. You just get on with things. You never talk about personal stuff, and that's the way it was. Whereas here, my friend is asking me every day, right, Betty? How is your doggy, Emilia? How is Anthony? It's my son, who Betty met years ago. Yeah, so you ask me all these things every day. Clearly you care sometimes, right? Yeah? Because when I tell you that my doggy is sleeping in my bed, you ask me the next day, where is he? Is it in your bed? And I say, yeah. Right? Because he is a naughty boy, as you say, Elizabeth. Let's be honest, that's what you call me every day. And I'm trying to convince you every single day that I'm a girl. In all of this, Betty, I hope we've got many, many more years to just be ourselves together as friends. We can do much more. We can, all these inappropriate jokes that we have between each other every single day. Because that's what makes you laugh, by the way. I hope that it's going to be many more, because every day different things make you laugh, Betty, and that's how you make me laugh. With your crazy banter. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you, Betty. You are definitely one of my best friends. Are you listening to me now? You're one of these friends that you could steal horses with, so this is definitely you and me, Elizabeth. If anybody is missing any horses in the areas, it's us. Right. So Elizabeth, love you a lot. That's all I can tell you, and thank you for the journey so far. Thank you for the future that we will probably have, because I'm going nowhere, because I am enjoying March, and yeah, it's been brilliant, and thank you to everyone for this journey so far. It's amazing.
Over the hills and far from her, she's waiting for love to be realized. she'll take it into her side. La 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 la.
Oh, thank you so much, Betty and Amelia. That was absolutely lovely. I bet you love that, Betty. Hi there. You doing okay? Now, don't forget to get in touch if you'd like to tell us about a special relationship that you have. Now we're going to look at clips of last week's activities. And don't forget that whilst you're watching this, you can message me and I'll respond later.
It's actually got a full house, yeah. Hold on, Debbie. We have a full house on 67.
So welcome back, and that was great to see all of those activities. Okay, so now I am going to hand you over to Paul Cohen, who is going to tell us his journey. Go on, Paul.
Thank you very much for welcoming me here. Well, my journey starts when I was born. I was born in February 1946. This would have been 9 months after the end of the Second World War. I was born in Bromley, and that was a part of Kent then, about 12 miles from London. And when I was born, there was rationing of foods and of clothes. I was born in a big house, a bit like a house on the other side of Newsham Park. Those who know the Coracle, it was a house like that. In fact, the house next door to the Coracle used to be a maternity hospital. Then I was taken to a flat nearby where for the first 6 months I lived. This was in the days before the National Health Service. And then I was taken and lived in a prefab. A prefab was a building that were hastily built because of so much bombing of housing during the Second World War. Bromley was near Biggin Hill, an RAF station. That was about 4 or 5 miles from Bromley. Bombers during the war would go over Bromley, trying either to bomb Biggin Hill or the docks in London. And any bombs that were remaining in the planes, they would have to let go because they wouldn't have enough fuel to get back home. So Bromley was a part of, well, Bomb Alley. They just dropped the bombs and it didn't matter where they went. They weren't deliberately trying to bomb houses, but they had to go somewhere. When I was about 6, I moved to a council house. We, being Mum, Dad, 3 brothers, 1 sister, so 7 of us in a 3-bedroomed, semi-detached house. It was quite crowded, but we had a garden, and Dad would grow food in the garden, lettuce, potatoes, whatever. I started going to school when I was 5. First the infants, and then the primary school. It was an old building. My uncles, brothers of my mum, would have gone to the same building, the same school. I can't remember much about it. I wasn't unhappy, so one assumes I was quite happy. Then I went to a secondary modern school, and I used to belong to a drama group. And in my first play, I took the part of a girl. My schoolmates took the mick out of me, and they laughed when I first came on, but cheered me at the end. So this was my first time in drag. Certainly wasn't my last time in drag. I left school about 15 or 16, and I went to work in an office. This was a commodity broker's. It involved shipping documents. It involved ships coming to the ports in the United Kingdom and Europe. This included Liverpool. I can remember the first invoice I ever did was a tin of grapefruit coming into Liverpool. The office was in the City of London. What did I do outside work? I started going to pubs and other entertainments, cinemas, theatres, and I started going to pubs with drag acts. For those who don't know, drag acts are when men dress up as women and sing songs, etc. And it was only a couple of weeks ago on Radio 4, two people were chatting about pubs I used to visit when I was in my early 20s and were seeing drag acts. And I can remember Paul Ducey being quite shocked when I said at the end, we all stood up singing Land of Hope and Glory. We'd all go like this. Paul Ducey looked appalled that I should do this. At this time, I decided I wanted to go back to church. It was after seeing Jesus Christ Superstar. There was all this colour and movement going on stage, and I said, I want to go back to church. So I asked a gay friend of mine about it, and he took me to the church he went to. It was a very high church. The men dressed up with colourful vestments and walked about and pranced around. It was ever so good. It was great. So my journey from drag acts to the church was beautiful. It didn't seem much different from the pubs. Men dressing up and me praying. I cannot remember anything particularly exciting. Brothers got married. My sister got married. Friends got married. Friends got divorced. I can remember going to Ellesmere Port, where my sister went to live. I went there once. I haven't been back. And even being here near Liverpool, I still haven't gone anywhere near Ellesmere Port. I assume there must be, I didn't like it. One friend had left Bromley and came back with his boyfriend. He was very camp, and we got on quite well. He made me laugh. My other friends were scared of him, but he and I just got on. I think we found each other entertaining. Life went on. I think I should tell you one thing that needs to be told. On my first holiday abroad was to Sitges in Spain. I went there by train, but I needed a passport, and so I had the form to fill in. I was then told my birth certificate was incorrect. The name of my father on the certificate wasn't my real father, and the name on the certificate was my uncle. So my uncle was my father, and my father was my uncle. It sounds a bit like a patter song from Gilbert and Sullivan, and a kind of comedy number. My mum said to me, "Do you want to change the certificate?" And I said, "No, doesn't matter that much." And it didn't, and I still don't think it matters much. It's a bit of paper, and what's important is you knowing who your father is, not what a bit of paper says. And I can remember one Saturday lunchtime, my mum and dad had been out, and they came back and told me that they'd just got married. Well, that can't happen in many households, mum and dad telling their son they'd just got married. So life went on, nothing special. Pubs, etc., going to see friends, going on holidays. And that was it. Then I was made redundant, and I had to decide what to do. And I saw an advert saying, would you like to join a Christian community and care for others? And I went, yes, that's what I'd like to do. Sunday, the 30th of August, 1992. I used to be a thurifer. A thurifer is a person who holds a metal container and charcoal is put on it and then incense, and they go round like this. Smoke comes out and a beautiful fragrant smell comes out, and you sense people, the altar, or whatever. I enjoyed it because it was showing off, and I'm a bit of a show-off. I'm a bit of an extrovert. So on this Sunday, there was plenty of smoke because there was a celebration. I was going to have a new life. So after the drinks, after Mass, and after being given a present, I went to Euston. I arrived in Liverpool, found a taxi, and I said, Fairfield Crescent, please. And they said, the driver said, which Fairfield Crescent? And I said, oh. And so we looked at papers and we found the right one, and we found the anchorage. Little did I know that at the station were some people waiting for me. So I went to the anchorage on my own. The anchorage was to be my home for 6 months. It was a place of comfort. That's what it became. It was a place, a home, where I could be myself. I didn't have to pretend to be anything but I didn't have to pretend. I could become Paul Cohen. The Paul Cohen you see now, years older, but the same Paul Cohen. In the anchorage, there were 5 core members. There was Tommy, Bobby, Robert, Fran, and Joan. They were wonderful people to share your life with. The first evening, Joan started chatting to me. There was only Joan and myself, and Joan chatted about her mother, and she talked about her mother in the past tense and the future tense. So I was a little confused. Was she alive or wasn't she? I found out later that she'd died recently. That was why there was this confusion. Joan liked talking about sex. If you ask people who knew Joan of those days, they would say the same. And Joan chatted to me about sex and said to me, my bedroom door is always open. And I said, my bedroom door's always closed. I lived 6 years in the anchorage, and I learnt about life. Life in Bromley was quite genteel compared with the Prescott Road. I'd never seen anything quite like the Prescott Road. It was a bit of a shock. My mother would have been appalled, but she wouldn't understand. The first person I supported was Tommy Charman. And I can remember being quite apprehensive that I'd actually have to be on my own and support Tommy. And it was at this time in the anchorage that Robert and I became friends and carer for each other. We cared for each other. We loved each other. Robert could have been my younger brother. In fact, he was 1 year younger than me. Robert trusted me. I was in awe that he trusted me. I didn't do anything special. He gave me a nickname, Testy, or Little Testy. Fran still calls me that now and again. Someone complained to me that he called me this name, but I told them, don't worry. It's Robert's special name for me. And Robert had special names for assistants. In the houses, there are assistants, and in the anchorage, there were assistants, and the house leader was Irish, but I couldn't understand her. She spoke with quickly, and her accent was very broad. The other assistants coming from different countries in Europe, I could understand. So we all lived together in this house. Life was hard. Life was fun. Looking back on those times, it was also a little foolish. The world changed around us, but we didn't change. In my first month there was a marriage in the community, so the whole house had to get ready. There were 10 of us, and the house leader was worried that I wouldn't be able to manage. But I said to her, don't worry, I come from one of 7 in my family, so we're used to a load of people getting ready for weddings. In October 1992, Tina Brady came to the anchorage to live. And her father used to visit every week. He had such loyalty. He visited her every week, and he visited her when she moved house. I became a house leader in the anchorage, and life was good. Life was very good. All I had to do was to love and be loved. All I had to do was to care and be cared for. Simple, really. In those days, L'Arche used to go on pilgrimages. In my time in L'Arche, we visited Corrymeela in Northern Ireland, we visited Holy Island in the northeast, and we visited Iona, a small island off the coast of Scotland. We also had smaller pilgrimages around Liverpool. After 6 years, I moved to the Spring. There was a party in the Spring shortly before I moved. Peter Brennan was outside the house smoking. He said to me, "You're coming here, aren't you, Paul?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "What do you think?" And Peter said, "It'll be good, won't it?" That was a good welcome. It was in the spring. There was Barbara, Stella, and Peter. I would be there 6 years. Whilst I was there, I had to help out in another community, a community in Brecon, and they had a few problems there, and it was thought I could help. My father came from South Wales, so it was going back to the land of my fathers. They did ask me to stay there, but I said to them, no, I want to go back to Liverpool. life isn't all happy. This doesn't mean it was bad. It means sometimes there's sadness. There's a song, into life a little rain must fall. And in my life, there hadn't been much rain. Well, rain of sadness. And it was in the spring I found the first sadness in this community. Stella had been ill and was taken to hospital. And I got a phone call late one evening. Could I go in? Stella was dying. I left the spring straight away, and I only had to go to the Royal, a couple of miles away. But when I got there, Stella had just died. I felt awful. Someone who had been put into my care had died, and I felt I'd failed her. And the next morning, we had to go and tell the rest of the community. And I couldn't do it. And I was told to go away, go and rest. Six years I spent in the spring before I went off to the coracle. And in the coracle, the core members were Brian Woolley, David Swan, Ian Watkinson, and Annie and Nikki. Whilst in the anchorage, Robert left the anchorage and moved to the spring. The day Robert moved, he went into the workshop and said he wanted to see Joan. Joan was coming to the end of her life, so we went off to hospital. We returned, and Robert asked me if Joan was dying. And I told him, yes, she was. And he cried. He'd lived with Joan many years, and they left the anchorage the same day. He to come to the spring, and she died. And Bobby gave us a hug. And we cried together. That day, we were celebrating the Eucharist in the Ark. People you love sometimes die. I returned one evening, just after the death, to the anchorage, and there was Bobby Taylor. Just Bobby and I, and we were in the kitchen, and there's a wooden table in the anchorage, and Bobby got a cup and poured drink in it, placed it on the table. He took bread, broke it, placed it on the table, and he put a photo of Joan on the table and prayed. As he did pray, as he did celebrate, and people who have been here a long time will tell you that Bobby could chant just as the priests chant in church. That was a real thanksgiving for someone who Bobby loved and lived with. and so life carries on. I left the coracle and started being responsible for Tabor. Many changes had been taking place in large Liverpool, and in Tabor there were many changes. Tabor became a place for the community to meet. It then became a place for Ian Watkinson to live. It became a place where Peter Brennan would live, and it became a place where Peter Barlow came to live. It became a place where Paul Cohen retired. It will become a place where Paul Cohen might leave. But that's another chapter. My chapters in Larsh, Liverpool, have been great. They have been happy. Once upon a time, Paul Cohen came to Liverpool, and he lived and he loved. He realised that there were good places, and Liverpool, Larsh, was one of those good places to live in.
Oh, Paul, that was so lovely, so moving. I wish we had more time and I could just ask you so many questions about it, especially the fact that you came from Bromley to L7, but we haven't got the time to do that now, so we can maybe do that another time. So thank you so much. So now let's go through all the messages and the shout outs that I got. Okay. So Betty loved hers and Amelia's story, so that was great. Julie spoke to Mark and he misses everyone and hopes to see us all soon. So it'd be great if Mark was watching, but he's not now. So looking forward to seeing him come back. Hello to Joyce. Hiya, Joyce. It's great to see you here every week. Sorry that you had to wait for us this morning a little bit. And Amelia was saying, look at Wendy and Deborah. We're so blessed to have you here. And Gemma said, that was lovely, Amelia. What a lovely friendship. Nice to see everyone. Having a good week. Look forward to seeing you all at the Glee Club. So that's from our Gem. Don't forget about the big Zoom quiz tomorrow. And good luck to Jose for the Glee Club on Friday. We can't wait because Jose is going to host it rather than Stacey. So that should be fun. Okay, so that is the end of this week. So I'm just going to leave you with something from Martin Luther King, which I think is quite pertinent, quite apt. And it says that a riot is the language of the unheard. Stay safe and stay well. Until next week, bye now.